Hi guys, welcome back to Clare's Kingdom, where we talk facts, walk fierce, and remind the world that well-behaved women rarely make history. Okay, so let's get into it. So first of all, Happy New Year guys. I hope you all had a great Christmas, New Year's, just festive time with family, friends, or even if you were alone. I hope you guys had good holidays, time to rest, eat, relax, all that good stuff. So today we're going to be talking about unlearning survival habits, things, energies that once kept you safe. So of course this channel is all about finding your power, being a powerful woman, embracing your femininity, finding strength, embodying your dark feminine energy, all these good stuff. And one thing that's definitely come to light and I've noticed in my own energy is old conditioning when it comes to covering up, hiding myself, whether that's like through clothing, through huge clothing, coats, or even hiding behind a certain like masculine energy. And especially if you're someone who had to grow up being some sort of anchor, or having to grow up maybe a bit too quickly, or maybe being the most emotionally intelligent one in the room, a lot of the time you have this kind of tough exterior or even just tough demeanor. And one thing that I've been unlearning, and which I encourage you guys to unlearn, is to not always have to brace yourself. And one thing that I believed for a long time is that in order to be seen as a powerful woman, or in order to be seen as, strong and not to be messed with, I had to have a more masculine approach. Even if technically I would, I could do my makeup, I could, do my nails, all these things, but inside I'd still feel like I had to have this, sort of like militant exterior and posture. And don't get me wrong, there are situations that do warrant you having to have that sort of, approach or energy. But in everyday, day-to-day life, or even like in family or familiar settings, it's like I would catch myself slipping into that old way of having to feel like I need to be this like tough, almost like like this rock. And lately I've been realizing that so much power comes from not having to show that you have power, or not having to prove that you're powerful, because especially as a woman, your power comes from your ability to look delicate, or your ability to look harmless, your ability to just look like, the pretty girl, the beautiful girl, the smart girl, whatever you want to frame it. People see you in that one way, which means they underestimate you in other areas, or they project certain ideas towards you. For example, I'm someone that loves to indulge in like very glamorous looks, Hollywood style, Marilyn Monroe, Olivia Pope, those kind of aesthetics. And it's very easy for people to project onto me that, she's just a pretty girl, or she's slow, or whatever. And that's very universal, especially if literally you're seen as a person that's, always active, you look after yourself, you're your own muse. People very unlikely assume that there's a whole movement, there's a whole empire, brain, queen energy behind that. Whether they do or not, it's not really a problem. But I guess the point is, you don't necessarily have to present yourself as this statue to be seen as powerful. And I love that, because one thing I've been kind of battling is that I felt like I had to choose between the, commanding CEO boss energy versus the kind of more slow, commanding, central, quiet, femme fatale kind of energy. And I realized that no, like those things can both coexist within you. And of course, there's a time and a place where certain aspects of yourself may come out, but just learning and unlearning things like having to wear these big coats. Like when I was younger, I was always told, especially by like aunties, elders, and now I look back, I know a lot of it was just jealousy and projection and all these things. They would always tell me because of my shape, because I have like a especially heavier lower body, and I would always be told, cover up, men are gonna look at you, your finger, you're like, they'll literally just tell me like your backside is too big, like high, like they'll literally give me scarves, give me coats to cover myself. And this was me from ages like 12, 13, 14. And of course, growing up like that, you're gonna internalize these things. And even when I grew up and I realized like that wasn't right, sometimes I still find that those teachings or conditionings creeping back, and I realize like no, like God gave me this body, God gave me this look for a reason, and who am I to hide it? Who am I to diminish myself because of other people? And when you actually look around at a lot of people that make comment on you, a lot of the time they don't have what you have, and a lot of the time what they're telling you to do, they're not even doing it. And that was another thing I realized, like the women that were telling me to cover up, not once did they cover up. In fact, they were doing the absolute most. And I'm not here preaching to, start walking around naked or walk around like half. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying as simple as like not wearing a coat, like not wearing a long cardigan. Like I could be fully clothed, but they'll still find a way to try and make me hide myself. And that's when I say, when I go back into the whole masculine energy, it was this idea or feeling I felt like I had to, but I'd still feel like trapped. And I guess this message is just to say, don't allow yourself to be trapped, because sometimes, yes, men can trap you, women can trap you, the society can trap you, but sometimes we trap ourselves in our own minds or our own conditioning, and a lot of the time the conditioning is not even ours, and a lot of the cages we have in our minds are not even like ours. Like, our job to unlearn that, to unmask it and face it. It's not easy, but it's doable. And you are absolutely able to be modest. If you want to be a modest woman, that's fine. If you don't want to be, that's also fine. But just make sure you are living by your standard. Make sure you're living your truth, in your authenticity, because you always feel held back. You always feel a little bit unfulfilled. And it's not going to be easy. Like, when I tell you, it's like sometimes we're made to feel, especially if you grew up with if you grew up with a more curvy shape, or hips and all these things, it can make you feel like you're doing something wrong. But it's like, if you have a shape and you wear clothes, of course your clothes are going to accentuate your shape. What can you do about it? And a lot of the time, that is, you never know what doors are supposed to open because of these things that we try to hide. And that can apply to anything. That can apply to your hair, teeth, your skin, your body, your brain, your talents, your gifts, your voice, like all these things that we may be insecure about, people try to tear us down about from a young age. Especially a lot of the time, that is where your power is. I think your Level Up Guru, make sure you guys go subscribe to her channel. She talks about how the thing that people attack the most is probably where your power is. And I'm not saying your power is just only in your physical appearance, because of course we are more than just our bodies and we're more than just what we can provide. But these things that are led to feel insecure about, you never know. If God gave you a specific body type, hair type, skin type, whatever it is, especially if it stands out and it's unique to you, that is your indicator that you are not supposed to be hidden. Because some of us, I know I can relate to the fact that no matter how much I've tried to hide, I can walk in a room, try hide in the back, somehow attention will find me. Somehow I still stand out. Somehow people are still curious about me. These things that we may hide, these things we may be insecure about, these things that we're given are not by accident. So don't hide your power, don't hide your femininity, because femininity in itself is powerful. The quiet confidence, the sensuality, the knowing who you are, knowing what you deserve and moving accordingly. A lot of the time women are always suppressed, whether it's how they present themselves. If femininity was so weak, and if being in your feminine energy, being in your dark feminine energy, if all of that wasn't powerful enough, why is it in society, in culture and religion, women are always told to suppress their femininity? Whether it's to drown under huge clothes, whether it's to not speak your mind, whether it's to stand up for yourself or set boundaries or do your hair a certain way. A lot of times, especially in religious backgrounds, which I'm going to do a deeper video about, I'm going to make a video about that where I delve deeper into that topic. But especially in religious backgrounds, women are discouraged to wear makeup or to do their hair in a feminine way, or have long hair, or take time to look good. And really and truly, if there was no power in that, if that wasn't going to hurt or affect anyone, then why are women always suppressed in that way? So I want us to think about that and think about how, of course, masculine energy, everyone has masculine and feminine. I just want to make it clear that masculine energy is not a bad thing, but I think the trap that a lot of us women fall into, making masculinity everything, embodying masculine energy entirely instead of using it strategically. In my personal opinion, I think that feminine energy, especially dark feminine energy in of itself, is very powerful. It's very persuasive. It's very strategic. I think the most important thing is to make it something that you freely possess, something that's a part of you, rather than something you're trying to perform or something you try to embody to get a certain outcome, but actually becoming that person, becoming that woman who walks into the room and the energy just changes. Not because of being overt or being loud or being commanding, controlling. I think when we're in our masculine energy, what's leading that is, wanting to be in control, wanting to be competitive, being at the front, being at the top. When you're just quietly, and not in a, be quiet or be seen and not heard kind of way, but when you're just selectively quiet, selectively engaging with people, being grounded, moving slowly, thinking about what you say, deciding whether you speak to people or not, I think that's where the real power comes, because you are not adapting to the room is adapting to you. And I'll talk about this in later videos, but I just wanted to add that point in. Of course, there's women out there that may lead into either or. Some women may just choose to be pretty, and maybe just revolve their lives around that. Other people take the other extreme, where they may just choose to be book smart, not really caring for their appearance, maybe just being more money motivated, education oriented. There's nothing wrong with either extremes, but when a woman has that sweet, like the sweet in between, the sweet spot, that's when she becomes dangerous. Because not only is she aesthetically pleasing, not only is she beautiful, warm, vibrant, she's also smart, she's also intelligent, she's strategic, she isn't easy to manipulate, she's not easy to sway. And that's why you see women like that. If you look at history, women like that have always left a mark, and women like that are always made to feel like they need to suppress themselves, or made to feel like they're too much, when in reality they are just so powerful, they are so unique, and they are so unpredictable that it shakes people, it shakes the patriarchy, it shakes men, women, society's expectations. So never be afraid to, yes, be smart, be intelligent, work towards your goals, work towards your career, but never be afraid to also express your femininity in your appearance, in your attitude, in the way you treat people. That is your power. Your ability to make decisions, be decisive, know what you want, and still be graceful, still be classy, still care for your appearance, care for your health. These things give you power. And if they don't, why have... Just look at the history. If you disagree with me, just look at our history and ask ourselves. We need to really ask ourselves why society a lot of the time wants women to choose one. It's like, either be smart or be pretty. You can't be both. But why not? The question is, why not?